How can we transform our reality if we don't like what we created? How can we transform that?
We love this question. This is a wonderful question. So it takes decision making, as some say, right? You have to make a decision first that you want to change it. If you are a person who wants to sit in the suffering and say, oh my, it's so terrible, I don't like this, I don't like this, and you constantly are repeating that and repeating that and repeating that and repeating that within your physical experience of whether or not you call it the mantra that you continue to repeat, you will stay in that place. It becomes a decision. Something has to be moved within you. Yes, you have to come to a choice where you make that choice. You are human choosers. So you have to come to the choice where you make the decision and you choose to create something new. And out of that becomes a sacred action, an action you would take, something you would do, a little bit of movement this way or that way. If you're in a bad situation where you live and someone is always throwing rocks in your house, you're going to take some sort of action to figure out how to make it a better situation for your living experience, whatever action that may be. And there are a plethora of opportunities of actions that you could take. All kinds. So it becomes that you are a human chooser. You could choose that you talk to every person on the block and you find the culprit, or you could move your physical space, or you could put boards up around your windows, or you could hire an infiltration of army people around you and catch the person. There's so many, and we are using a very interesting analogy about a house, but we would say to you that there are so many opportunities to change that situation in different ways you would be choosing. The same would go if you are in a situation you do not like. You don't like being at a particular job situation. We know this is a conversation we have with many of our human friends. And ultimately, we say always, we understand where you sit, where you are, what you believe, what you think, and we cannot influence you any other way. We cannot say, do this, don't do this, go here, don't go there. We always offer the opportunity of the widest possible mirror for us to say to you, what do you really want to choose? And if you are willing to step into the territory of being brave enough, and we do say brave, it requires you stepping over your fear. It requires you to shore up something that is keeping you in the place that you are calling, I don't like this, I don't want this is not a good situation for me. But you keep yourself there until you make the moment of decision. No one chooses anyone for anything for you ultimately. Now we know that that will actually trigger a lot of conversation, because many people feel that they are at the effects of things. But ultimately, if you dial every part of everything back down, and we know that this is quite a topic. We know, believe us, we know that this is quite a topic. That personal responsibility is at the end of all of this. And we have that to be a hot spot with people. We know people don't want to hear, our friends do not always want to hear that they are ultimately having a powerful responsibility within every single equation that is their life experience. And when what we say to our human friends is that goes back to the soul's desire of why you incarnated. So if someone says to us, well, that is just an impossibility, Osairah, because this person is in prison. This person is being held captive by someone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are all kinds of different ways you could create scenarios. And we would say, ultimately, we could dial every conversation back down to, ultimately, that the soul makes choices. You, on the human experience of the third dimensional reality, in reality experience as you are calling it, cannot know what another person has signed up for. Maybe that experience where they ended up being in, shall we say, prison, was a result of something ultimately that they wanted to experience in a great way that ultimately frees their soul in some other way that you will never, ever know about. So things are never what they seem to be on the surface of someone looking outside in. Does that answer the question, or some of it?